And now your host, Joe Gansas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Around the Kit video live stream. Today, July 24th, 2022. I'm your host, Joe Gansas, and for the next 2 hours, we'll be talking drums, and if that's not enough, drum some more. Guys, welcome back to a live show on Facebook, Around the Kit video live stream. We have a tremendous show tonight, a total of 5 of the best in the world of drumming. Our roundtable from 8:10 to 8:25 p.m. tonight will consist of the following 3 great drummers: Aaron Kennedy, Arthur Stonez, Mike Dawson. Our main guests tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, just a superb, tremendous, world-class drummer, the awesome Dave DiCenso. In the 9:30 p.m. spot, a guy who's been on the show and I just love conversing so much. He's done so much in the drumming community, the great Barrett. We welcome you to the show. Just been so busy on Around the Kit. We've been doing this series where we've been interviewing people during the week. For the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have a half a dozen interviews ready to go. We're not sure when we're going to be, posting them or publishing them or getting them out there. But soon, we got some great content, a couple of living legends. I don't want to give anything away yet, but we got some great content. And we've just been, doing a lot of work. And our great producer, John Besser, has just been kicking ass. And guys, I always say this, it's Joe Gansas on the everything you see. Joe Gansas. Trust me, most of what you see or what we do is a result of the greatness of John Besser. And I love that he's going to say, why did you say greatness? I deserve superb. I deserve superb. Yeah, that's him in the background. He's like 8 feet away. He should be superb, world-class, living legend, John Besser. I know, I'll be quiet now, but he's just been kicking ass. We've been doing everything you see, and it's a culmination of the show. Laura Pepialtieri's been kicking ass with This Week in Drumming. Doug Miola with his Spotlight drummer. We have a video guy now, Brian Duke, that's been kicking ass on some of the stuff. And it's a whole team. You see my beautiful face, and I didn't shave too much today. I hope my hair's not growing in, but we just got some great content, and I just love doing these live shows. Me and John have been really doing so much, trying to bring the best shows possible, and hopefully you guys like what you're seeing. What do we got coming up on Around the Kit? Let me think. We got some great shows. Our next show, just 2 tremendous drummers, probably most notably in the metal genre. They've done other stuff, but I mean, August 7th, we have the tremendous. I know I use tremendous a lot, and I get yelled at by John and everybody else. So the greatness of both of them. Awesomeness of Glenn Sobel and Mark Zonder, just 2 guys that I love conversing with. Mark has been one of my favorite bands of all time, Fate's Warning back in the 80s, and Glenn Sobel been kicking ass for about a dozen years now with Alice Cooper. So it's a great show. I just got goosebumps. We have a living legend. Probably, he's in my top 3. I got to keep it real. It's Weckl, Chambers, and Simon. Those are my top 3. I know it's hard to give top 3s, but those guys, on August 14th, a whole night, we present to you Dennis Chambers. Just can't wait for that. Just an unbelievable talent behind the drums, a superb drummer. We'll talk about his days, hopefully, with Parliament Funk, and there's a little James Brown story in there. Hopefully we'll get that on that show. He was in a band I love with Billy Sheehan called Niacin. Crazy funkadelic, a fusion band. His days with John Scofield, of course, he played about 9 years with Santana. Just a superb talent. So I'm looking forward to that on August 14th. Just trying to bring, the best we can, to the show. And I love hanging out with John, talking to John, because we bounce back ideas. It's not always what I say. I love when I give him an idea and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he goes, nope. All right. So it's no. All right. There goes that. I want to paint the wall red, red, red. John goes, that's nice, but let's paint it a little light blue. Okay, so it's light blue. That's great. So forget about, I'm just a guy talking to the mic. Great stuff. But we just keep at it. We got a lot of great shows coming up. We are booked up until November. Happy to have. We're going to talk about when we're going to get these shows out there. We have about 6 shows that we did. We've been doing interviews with. We have some living legends that we interviewed last week and the week before. Hopefully we'll put them out, during the week, but we're not even sure. I see again, my thing and John's thing. I wanted a certain date. John says, nope, no certain date. That's right. So I'm just a guy who, talks into the mic. Is this on? Yeah. So we just got some great stuff coming up. I think we're almost ready for the, let's get a word right now from our main sponsor, Cent 10 Cymbals. Around the Kit is sponsored by Cent 10 Cymbals. Cent 10 Cymbals is quickly becoming the choice for drummers worldwide. With their roots going back to the emperors of the Qing dynasty, Cent 10 blends the best of old world know-how with modern techniques to help all drummers find the best fit for them. Whether you're an avid drumming enthusiast or touring professional, Cent 10 has the perfect combination of products, pricing, and service to fit any drummer's needs. Contact them today to find out what the drum love is really all about. Cent 10 Cymbals. Forge your sound. Guys, we are back. Just a great partnership so far with Cent 10 Cymbals. Just trying to see if we have all our participants yet. Trying to get the green light from my producer, John Besser, the man in charge. He tells me, he just said not yet, so we're going to wait. I have a couple of guys waiting for 3 guys now. Usually drummers are on time. Get that? But, let's hope they come on soon, and we'll get these guys. We have a great roundtable tonight. And we also thank the Cent 10 for always helping us get the show out there. Great cymbals. I have 4 lines of Cent 10 cymbals. I have the Sparks. I have the Lad. I have the XZ. And I have the Emperor. I love the cymbals. How we doing, Johnny? Cool. Let's get to our round table. We are live and around the kit. It gives me great pleasure. They've all been on the show before, and I get goosebumps when I have these great drummers, Aaron Kennedy, Arthur Stonez, and Mike Dawson. Guys, what's going on? Yeah.
I want to say congratulations. Thanks,
is great. Aaron. How you doing, Mike?
All good, man. Just back from a long weekend of not playing gigs, actually. Going to see music instead of playing them. How about that?
Guys, I had the pleasure 2 years ago of every year I go to the Delaware Drum Show. Probably one of the best clinics I've seen in a long time. Mike Dawson just knocked it out of the park, and I love when he talks. He's a great communicator, not only with the playing but with the mind. Thank you, brother Mike.
My pleasure, man.
Let's get to Arthur. What's up, Arthur?
Joe, how are you, man? Congratulations on the new show and format. It's unbelievable, man. You took it to a whole new level, and I think that rejuvenated you, which was really important. And it's blessed to see you back, man.
Yes, we have to give a credit to the whole team and my producer, John Besser. As I'm saying, it's not always me, it's the whole team. But Arthur Stonez is the guy. We just played my Cent 10 cymbal. He's the guy. He's been so kind to me over the years to always help us with the show. I love the cymbals. So, guys, check out all they do at Cent 10 Cymbals. Guys, if I may pose a question, and I love this part of the show because I'm like a little kid. I just want to ask you so much, but I want to know, we all want to do so much in the drumming world, but there's days, where we get up and it's like, It's not happening today. I can't even play a beat. I'm out of it. I'm so tired. My chops aren't there. I got sessions. I got charts. I don't want to do it, but I got to get some stuff now done. Art, Aaron Kennedy, thank you, brother, for once again coming on. How do you get that back into you, bro, when you're not feeling it? If things just aren't going, but you have to get things done, is there some place you go to mentally? What's the thought process of conjuring it all back to you so you can get things done?
That's a great question. And students and clients are looking for that inspiration all the time. For anyone that's looking to have a space, I say to them, no matter how small the space is or whatever the gear is you have at the moment, try and make it an inspiring space. And I mean, if you're at this thing of ours that me and the guys are saying, this thing that we do, even just a year, you'll have to have visited a store. You have to purchase something in person or online. Stick something on the wall when you come through that door and look at it, whether it's your favorite drummer or something you did. I mean, I really encourage people to share their story. I don't care what level you're at. Put pictures of yourself up on the wall. There's nothing wrong with that. And remind yourself of where you were, where you are now, and maybe somewhere you want to be. So in closing, just put stuff in around your space. Make your space very manageable. Don't give yourself obstacles. Like when you go through the door, don't be tripping over stuff. Be at least modestly organized. And that way then it's not bringing stress on. And I found that a lot during COVID. Reduce the stress.
So do you look for some visualization in the room, or do you think something to get you through that session, or even with your students? Is it visual, or do you go in a thought process? Both.
It's both. I mean, we're obsessed with this thing. So just looking at the kit, I feel gratitude. Find a way to be grateful, because at least pretty much everybody on your podcast, Joe, is very fortunate to have everything pretty much they need to do their job. So first is the visual thing. It's a cerebral thing. If you see your kit, you're like, okay, that's my workstation. And the next thing then is thinking about, what would I like to do? And that's both working on your weaknesses and your positives. I mean, it's not easy, but it can be done. I think if people are organized, it helps that journey of being inspired and motivated.
Yeah.
That's just what I think.
I like a word you use, organized. Thank you, Aaron Kennedy. We'll come back to you in the closing comments. Arthur Stonez, we all have bad days, bro. I get up and I need 3 cups of coffee. I do. And I got to tell you, Arthur, if there's days when I have 1 cup, I really feel it. Talk to me about the days you're not feeling it, the sticks aren't grooving. Is there something you do? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Where does Arthur go to get that back to him?
Sometimes I walk away for a minute. And like Aaron said, get the gratitude back. It's easy to get discouraged. And I think it's almost human nature to do so, because we always strive for better, whether that's playing more, making more money, things like that. And so we set ourselves up for all that pressure, and that pressure can build up. And sometimes the cause of that pressure, the easiest way to deflate it is get away from it for a minute.
Yes.
That really is that. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I noticed I was recording a couple months ago, and I was just in one of those moods. I actually did that. I went for a ride in the car, and I went to get some more coffee, believe it or not. So I got like part of my 4th cup of the day. I went to get some coffee, and I came back. Maybe that little break, helped me.
I think it certainly does. I don't think we sometimes take enough break away from it. I'm thinking of Mike and how many projects he has, both playing and related to the industry and everything else. When do you not have it going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's literally 24/7. And I think that's a little too much.
Yeah. Mike Dawson, I just love, man. I love your playing, but if I'm honest, I love what you do with everything you have around you. You could make a garbage can sound good, bro. You have this way of just connecting a cardboard box. I've watched everything you do. You're so inventive, and I love it. But it's not feeling good today, Mike. You're in one of those zones. You got charts, you got songs, you got to get things done. Where does Mike Dawson go?
Believe it or not, I have a very strict, specific daily routine that I do every single day. It's a technical thing on the pad. I go through it. It resets my mind. It gets my hands loose. So I know every day if I do that, I sound and can play just as well as I could yesterday. So then from there, it's just a mental thing. So if I do that every single day, I might take Sundays off, like I didn't practice today because I was driving, but it's like a 20-minute routine, and I started doing it when I was subbing on Lion King on Broadway because I needed to get, I need to be 100% sharp from the downbeat. So I do that every day, and then that way when I get down here, I know my body works. So if something's not right, I just need to put on a Jack DeJohnette record or something just to flip the switch mentally, and then I'm ready to go. Usually, I feel like my worst day is still going to be decent.
You know? Right. So you're a creature of habit. You have a certain routine, and if that routine ponders different way, it's a little off.
Yeah, it's not even like I just know that if I get through that, then I can play everything I need to play. My hands work, so it gets rid of the doubt. Like, do I not sound good today? Well, I know I can play it, so now it's just what do I need to do to get my focus back on the task at hand. But honestly, once I get through that, I don't have bad days anymore. Really, I mean, there'll be days when my body is tired, but once I do that routine mentally, I'm like, okay, I can play. Let's go.
Guys, if I can, we have a little more time. I want to go a little more. You just said bad days, but I want to know, Aaron Kennedy, are bad days necessarily, bad days?
I think so. It's like when they say every man's problems are their own. I don't have them because I'm doing this so long now, and I'm the hyper positive guy. I'm very sick at the moment. I've been sick all week with COVID, but I taught for a couple of hours this morning. I put a little bit of my practice in, and it becomes like the guys are saying, it's part of you. And when you take the outside inside, your troubles from your work and stuff, it'd be good if you could try and use the drums as a vehicle, as an escape from that. Yeah. But certainly I know, guys who are not professional, don't earn a living from it, or simply put themselves under pressure to compete at attention or whatever. Those guys, you can have bad days. If you can say it's okay, you'll get through it. But if a bad day becomes like Mike is consistent in what he's doing, he's not having bad days because he's regimented, he's organized. It's definitely about finding the joy in it. And lastly, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to not reach your goals, and you shouldn't be trying to reach somebody else's. And I think there's a lot of that going on. That could be a whole other conversation. But yeah, of course, bad days are bad days. Something breaks, the store's closed, you're not making enough money. Yeah, I think it's important for us to recognize those of us who do have a special drum life, to let everybody else listen and watching. Bad days are really bad days. But I turn the worst days into the best days I can, because I feel very grateful.
Arthur Stonez, is your routine anything like Mike, where it's regimented, stuff like that, or it's not with you?
No, far from. I'm probably the most unorganized, fly by the seat of my pants kind of life there is. I don't know what's going to come at me at any given time. Right. So I can't really plan for it. I can see where, trying to have that consistency to it, like Mike does, it can be such a benefit. And that's actually something I do need to work on, is trying to get a better structure on things. But to the question of a bad day, there's millions of people that would be happy to have one of my bad days. It's so yeah, I shake it off. I shake it off real quick. It's, that woe is me is gone pretty quick. I give myself a kick in the butt and realize that, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
get some gratitude with the attitude, and let's get back at it.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Mike Dawson, before I let you go, talking about, where we go to bring everything back. And with you, is there such thing as too good of a day? Can it be, too much?
I think you'd have too many expectations. Your to-do list can be too long. I think, unrealistic goals that you're going to try to achieve all at once, that can set me up for anxiety. I have a whiteboard here on my desk, and every Monday I do my weekly to-do. I don't do daily to-dos anymore because it became like an impossible. So it's a weekly to-do. I'm limiting the things that I'm expecting of myself now, which is a big help, because I would have pages of to-do, especially when I was working at Modern Drummer. It was like, I can't get any of it done because there's 800 things that need to get done. Right. So I'm being more like, what actually has to be done in the next 5 days, and then let's tackle those.
Yeah, nice. Awesome stuff. So guys, you see, it's a question that can go so many different avenues here. We have pretty much different answers, but to me, it just says what works for Aaron, what works for Arthur, and what works for Mike. Arthur Stonez, Aaron Kennedy, and Mike Dawson, I cannot thank you once again. You guys always hit it out of the park on Around the Kit, and we say thank you, and we'll follow you. We'll have you guys back on soon. I can't thank you enough for this very intimate time on today's roundtable.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Joe. As always, love you, man.
All right, guys, love you too. Check out Dave DiCenso in about 10 minutes. But I thank you guys for your time, and have a great night.
You too.
Ciao, guys.
Thanks, guys. Oh, tremendous stuff. We got to do a whole we got to do a whole round table show. I can't even say. I'm so excited. We got to do a whole round table show. I just love it, interacting, and I love different answers. It just, everybody's different. Thank you once again to Arthur Stonez, Aaron Kennedy, and Mike Dawson. Let's get going. Let's play a clip. We have our guest coming up. Just a brilliant player. Here's a little video of the tremendous Dave DiCenso.
Just get on the bus, 'cause I feel damn good. Get on the bus. So, here we go. It's time for everybody to get down now. Get on the bus. It's time for everybody to get on now. Get on the bus. It's time for everybody to get down now. Get on the bus. Get on. Get on the bus. wanna go now. Get on the bus. The bus is gonna take you where you wanna go now. Get on the bus. The bus is gonna take you where you wanna go now. So get on the bus.
Wow, just tremendous stuff by the great Dave DiCenso. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back to Around the Kit the brilliant player, a great guy, and just so much to talk about, Dave DiCenso. What is up, Dave?
Hey, Joe. It's great to see you, man.
Great to see you, man. Thank you so much for your time. How you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing very well, man. I just got back from hanging with some friends by the pool at a friend's house.
Yeah.
So I'm doing well. You know, a bunch of people there. My son was there, a bunch of kids, good friends, summertime. It's good stuff, you know?
Yeah, good stuff. Guys,
how are you?
I am great. The brilliant Dave DiCenso. Love having him. Thank you so much for your time, brother. I know you're busy, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
My pleasure, Joe. Likewise.
Yeah, we just played a cool video. I think it was a couple of years ago. I don't know if you heard it. It was you were doing this. Get on the bus. Boom, pow, boom. So cool. I love it, man. You are out of your freaking mind. That's why I love you, bro. You're a brilliant player. But I want to start right there with your thought process, where I think at times I don't even know if you know where the hell you're going. Talk to me about. We've talked about so much over the years. We had some great conversations, but I want to talk about everything up here with you, because it has to start up here, you know. And I know it's in our hands, but I think it has to start here and ultimately be here, you know, with the heart and soul. But the thought process when you're playing, even when things don't, maybe for you it's impossible, but go right, you know, where does that thought process start on the throne?
Well, first of all, it definitely doesn't always go right, you know.
That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's something we all have to just figure out and accept. You know, like, it's not always going to go right, or certainly to your liking. You know, 100%. So, but so you're talking about you're wondering about my thought process in terms of what, like improvising a solo or playing music with other people?
Mostly we is solo, because you're just going, and you could see it in your facial expressions. You know, I don't know what planet you're on sometimes. It's great. It's great.
Thanks, man. If I'm creating an open solo for myself, historically what I've done is I give myself an idea, like a clave, and then, like, for example, like the Modern Drummer Festival, which was a long time ago at this point. I did that festival in 2006, and that was a good example of sort of my latest approach. Now, I know I say latest, and that was a while ago. I've modified it a little bit, but it's still kind of the same. The latest approach is take a clave and give myself just, you know, a place to sort of settle into, like more of a groove oriented thing than a rudimental or rudiment oriented. And then start to improvise within that. So, like with the Modern Drummer Festival, for example, that wasn't the first time I ever like sort of started a solo the way I started it at Modern Drummer. I had this. In fact, I had done it years before. At the Montreal Drum Festival, which was the first real drum festival I ever did. And so once I have my so this is what I did. I was like 3, 4, and first of all, I also know. I don't know why I'm putting in my ears. I also know what tempo I'm gonna start out with. Most of the time. Modern Drummer Festival where I know it's going to be filmed and a lot of people are going to be watching. Thousands of drummers there if live. I'm definitely thinking
130-ish.
What's that?
130-ish. The tempo 130 or higher.
I'm sorry. Yes, so I'm definitely I arrived with the tempo in mind. Okay. That day it was actually about probably like 140-ish.
Sure.
With an eighth note. And I start off like this is the eighth note. And I know in my mind I'm playing around clave, and I know how I'm going to interpret it to start. Then what happens? So I start like this: 3, 4. No. What was it? Yeah, sorry. 2, 3. No. 2, 3. You know,
Yeah, sure. You still there? Dave, can you see me or hear me still? Because we lost your audio. We lost your audio.
How's that?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That's so strange. I didn't even touch my phone.
That's all right. We're good. So go ahead.
So I set it up with this sort of spacious.
Yeah.
Right. So then I've got space to fill. Right. I don't start filling up all the space. And then I'm going to improvise. I mean, I already was improvising pretty much right from the get-go. I don't know exactly what I'm going to play, but I know exactly what rhythm I'm hearing in my head. And I've got an idea of where I'm going to start, where I'm going to go, and where I'm going to end up. And the latest thing I sort of did, if you will, I shouldn't say sort of, the latest thing I did was add modulation to it. You know, before, so that way I can take that same clave, for example, and modulate it, interpret it with a different feel, and it, you know, so it's got continuity. There's a cohesion, but there's also this sense of like it's going somewhere, it's evolving. Mm-hmm. So it's very much theme and variation, and there's a lot of improvisation.
Oh yeah. I notice with you a lot of the stuff that I love when you do is like that, where there's a lot of space because you just take it to another level. I mean, you're taking a 130 tempo, you know, but your fills are so much bigger in tempo and so bigger. It just takes you to another place. I want to ask you. You know, I think we all have a responsibility in life to whatever we do as a parent, you know, to your son today, you know, hanging out with the kids. There's a responsibility there to my job. What is Dave DiCenso's responsibility to drumming?
Yeah, Joe. Cool question, man. That's a good question. My responsibility to drumming. Well, I guess it's partially responsibility to myself because I love drumming. I feel you have been, we've been called to play the drums. The universe wants us to play the drums, and so it's my responsibility to answer that. Right. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm not doing this just for fun, and I'm not doing this just for money either. I mean, I'm doing it. I sort of lightly refer to it with my students as my cosmic duty, like DUTY, my cosmic duty. Like I'm doing what's good for the universe because it's good for me. And the universe like wants us to be happy, wants us to be thriving, and so that's part of my responsibility to myself to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to be doing here on Earth. And, I'm not trying to make it grandiose here. I'm not like
no, sure.
I don't look at music, being a musician as the most, I think I heard Sting say this, the most noble of pursuits. I think there are more noble things to do than be a musician, perhaps, for sure. But I do believe it's a noble pursuit to answer what's inside of you and what's calling from outside of you to do that, follow that. And then in terms of the music directly, my responsibility to the music is kind of like a responsibility in a way to a conversation. It's like it's my responsibility to listen and to know what the heck is going on and what we're talking about, and the context, and be somewhat have some experience. It's like if you're going to talk about like old school NFL, like I was a fanatic when I was a kid, and I could talk like really long and well about late 1970s, very early 80s NFL. Same with the Major League, same with Major League Baseball. So I have something to say, and I have some background, I should say, in that. And so that's part of my responsibility. Go ahead.
Right, because and I'm a big baseball guy too. I love baseball trivia. But we like talking about something. We like playing drums because, our responsibility to, that even the NFL, could it also be responsibility could equal commitment, or it's different for you?
I'd say it's kind of hard to decipher between those two right there in this context.
Yeah.
Pretty much this is, well, it's like it's my responsibility to stay committed, to the music. It's my responsibility to stay committed to the idea of the song. And this is something I think most young drummers, including myself, fail at, is when you make it too much about you. It's like being in a conversation and like you just want to impress the people with how much you know, or how many cool words you can say, or how well read you are, or whatever. And that's shirking your responsibility to the conversation. And I would say the same thing about music. And I'm a culprit. I've done it many, many times. Not like done for the music, not like fully committed and been responsible for the music. I don't really do that anymore, man. Unless I'm having a bad night and making bad decisions. I'm too old for that shit, Joe. It's like I've been doing this too long to F up that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a round table before you came on with three drummers, and I posed a question that I wanted to ask you too. Maybe we're a creature of habit, and like in the morning, I was telling the guys, before I do anything, I need 3 cups of coffee. I need 3 cups. And if I don't have 3 cups, if I have 1 cup, I'm going to feel it. Talk to me about, drumming and the days where you're not feeling it, if it's possible with Dave DiCenso, you're not feeling it, just don't want to do it, but you got to get the students in. You got to teach. You got to educate. You got some sessions. Is there something you do? Is there a place that Dave DiCenso goes to conjure that all back to yourself and bring everything into fruition?
Yes, actually. And it's something that I didn't have this skill really. Again, when I was younger. If I'm not feeling it, and yes, it definitely happens. It happens to all of us. You could ask Vinny, right? And he'd say the same thing. It's like, you just, you can ask the greatest athletes in the world, and they'll say the same thing, right? Like, not every day are you the best you can be. And if I'm not, or I should say, not every day can you like be fired up to do it. And like if it's a practice, I accept. I don't get. It's not fun, but I don't get pissed and just. I don't really get discouraged by like shedding and not sounding good. I mean, people say you're not supposed to sound good when you're practicing anything. If you sound good when you're practicing, you're messing up. But I don't fully buy into that. I feel like, there are times when I practice and I recognize, yeah, that sounds good. Like that's the way I want this to sound. Mm-hmm. And it just, it's not going to happen every day. If I'm not feeling it for practice, I just do it, and I get through it. I log it in my practice journal and say felt like shit today. X for X, Y, and Z reasons, and move on, or to the best of my ability, move on. And I mean mentally, like not get hung up on it. If I'm not feeling a performance, that sucks. That feels like shit. But most of the time, that works itself out. Mm-hmm. It's like by the second song, or even the downbeat. I mean, I can think of shows I did with Josh Groban where. Shit, I mean, so many shows, not just with Josh, but just when you're on the road and you're doing the same show every night, 6 weeks in a row, and then a short break, and then you're back out for 6 weeks. It's like, you can't expect to be, I can't expect to be into it every night. But you put it on. You sometimes you gotta paint the face on and be like, hey, I'm a performer. It's like, it's my job, whether I like it or not. Right. I got to get a show and put on a show.
Well, there's where the word from 15 minutes ago comes into play, the responsibility, not to yourself now because you're getting paid to represent Josh Groban on stage. Now the responsibility, even when you're not feeling it, is to yourself, is to Josh and the crowd. So there's a responsibility there too.
That's a beautiful coming around. That's exactly right, man. It's my responsibility to go on stage on the 90th show of a tour and play it like it's my first show. And something that helps me with that actually is remembering that most of the people that you're playing for, it's their first time seeing the show. So stuff like that helps me stay committed, stay responsible, and deal with those times when I'm not necessarily feeling it, feeling like, yes, let's go do this. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, a session, a show, a practical, a lesson, teaching. And that's another thing, man, is, and I chalk this up to two things. It's rare that I don't enjoy teaching. Although I can't say that I look forward to it every single day that I teach. There are days I'm like, wouldn't mind not teaching today. But I most of the time am enjoying myself, genuinely enjoying myself, because I think two reasons. One, my students. I have, by and large, I have really good students, and I'm so grateful for it. And two, I've just been doing it so long. I've been teaching so long that I really have my stuff together, so to speak. I can really be efficient and effective with the way I teach, and it's, that's fun. So I'm really grateful for that, because there are days, like I said, I don't necessarily want to teach, but it almost always, I just get in a groove because of the students, because I can do it efficiently, and it's fun.
I know we're going back and forth with this, but it's a great topic tonight. The responsibility to yourself, responsibility to Josh Groban and the fans. Now the responsibility is to that 18-year-old kid who's eager to learn. So there's a responsibility also in the classroom to each of your students.
And that responsibility is no different to that student than it is to any one of my employers.
Right.
To Josh or whomever.
Right.
It's the same to the student. I really do feel that, and I'm grateful for that too, because that, it keeps me like pumped up. Like, I owe this kid the best that I can give him.
Yeah. I think it equates. It's a good analogy. And guys, we're talking to the brilliant, and I say brilliant, Dave DiCenso. He's always so nice, and I owe him so much for the past 5 years. I have this analogy. We're talking about the students, and I do interviews with world-class players like yourself. I have all the big names: Weckel, Smith, Phillips, Garibaldi, on and on. I'm not going to just keep. They're always on my show, and I'm grateful. But there's the weekend warrior. So I think what you're trying to say is, the responsibility you have to these kids and to your employer at the time is like me having the same responsibility to do the best interview for John Smith, who plays twice a month, or to Dave DiCenso. I always want to keep this show real, because everybody on this show I treat the same.
That's the way it should be, Joe. I appreciate that you look at it that way, and you behave as such. It's the way it should be. You remind me of a couple of things. One, my friend Dave Maddox, legendary drummer. He's one of the cats, right? And he moved to Boston about 25 years ago, something like that. Maybe 20, somewhere around there. And from London. And as much, I don't know that I've ever spoken to him about this specific thing, but in fact, I think we did a long time ago. I remember thinking, Dave Maddox, who's played with Jethro Tull and Jimmy Page and Elton John, and the list goes on. He's moving to Boston, nobody around here, nobody like that lives around here, and anyway, some years later, I read in one of the drumming magazines him being interviewed and him saying something like, it doesn't matter who the client is, if I like the song, what the budget is. You just want to do your best. You want to make it as good as it can possibly be.
I think we, as drummers, whatever your profession is, you owe it to yourself first. If Dave DiCenso is playing Madison Square Garden, holds about 19,000, or you're playing a high school where there's 50 kids, I got to think that your passion and commitment is the same.
It is. And I think you would say the same, right? Like, whether you're playing, and I think, maybe maybe Gene Simmons wouldn't say that. And I say that somewhat tongue in cheek. I'm a huge old Kiss fan, and I could just picture Gene being like, "Really? You could play in front of two people and have the same passion?"
Tongue in cheek with no pun intended on the tongue.
Oh shit, Joe! I didn't even catch that. So, but I think most musicians would say that. It's like, it doesn't really. It does in a way. It does in a way. It does matter. Here's where it matters. If you play Madison Square Garden and instead of 19,000 people, you've got maybe 7,000 people, then, but you're still going to. That might be in your head, but you're still going to give those 7,000 people the best show, and you're going to treat the music with the utmost respect. Still, hopefully, you do that. Anyway, I think I got off track.
No, it's fine. Today is an open book. Today there's no specific question. I just want to keep going with you because I just love when we just go at it and just almost like sparring partners. Your students, you've been doing this for a long time. My God.
I don't think I want to spar with you, by the way. Not by the looks, not by how much.
I'm out of shape.
Picture you.
I had once again a dear friend of yours, and he's given me so much. He was on my show about 3 months ago. The tremendous. I call him the Southpaw, Rod Morgenstein, who we all just love. Love his. Another guy who we love his thought process. Just a genius behind the set like you. And I remember asking him once, if you could do it all over again, and I want to pose this question to you, if you could do it all over again, and you could be in the best band in the world, or you would want to mimic your career now, which route would you take?
Well, if I could do it all over,
if you could do it all over and be in the biggest band in the world, you could be in the Beatles, you could be in the biggest band in the world, or you could mimic what you've done your whole career. Which route would you choose?
Oh. Are you saying, like, is there sort of a fantasy route or a dream route that I might choose if I could do it all over again versus the reality route that I took?
Right. If you had a chance, maybe you could be in the best band, or maybe you like what you've done and you would stick with that.
Well, I do like what I've done in many respects. But I think if I'm being honest with myself, my dream never happened, and I'm okay with that. It's like I'm not like losing sleep over it, but my dream was to be a Neil Peart or a Charlie Watts or who else has been in the band for decades? Tommy Lee. Motley Crue's been around for
Joey Kramer. Joey Kramer.
Yeah. Joey Kramer, right? Like any of these lucky people who I'm not saying they didn't work for it,
right?
But you're lucky if you end up in one of those bands that does it for 30, 40. The Stones are 50 years now. It's insanely lucky. And that was my dream. I wanted to be one of those guys.
Right.
And so I think it's a good one, man. The hell, Joe? It's a good question. It's a tough one to answer because, it's like, but I think I would choose like a different path than my reality. I almost don't want to say that because it's my reality. But if I could have done it with one band, that would be what I would choose to do over again. With who? I mean, I don't know. Like a lot of the bands that I love, like the Who, for example. Actually, the Who they lasted. Yeah. So. Maybe a band like the Who, like Zeppelin didn't last, so I couldn't. Yeah. But here's another thing. I could never play The Who as good as Keith Moon.
Right. I understand. I actually like Kenny Jones better and The Who. That's just me. People give me a lot of shit for that. How could you like Kenny Jones? I like Keith. I'm not a big fan, if I'm being honest, but I like what he's brought to the table. I'm just a more Kenny Jones guy from the Faces, and then he's just always steady. But it's a great question because of course with that kind of situation comes more popularity, comes probably better pay, steady pay.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and maybe a simpler lifestyle. Like it's pretty. Well, shit. I don't know, Joe, because here's another thing that comes to mind that I wasn't thinking of a moment ago is I don't really like to be on the road all the time, but if I was in the Stones, and there's another band that I would like, I'd be like, shit, no, I'd never want to hear me on Beggar's Banquet or Let It Bleed or Sticky Fingers. It's like, but say it was, if I was in a band like the Stones, then I could bring my family on the road. But that could be a messed up life for a family too. So there's that whole consideration too.
Another question. Could you play in a band and get paid, but you don't like the music? Think about that. Could you play in a situation where somebody wanted you, they know how good you are, they're paying you good money, but you don't like the music? Can you still give 100% internally to that project?
Yes and no. The yes part is every night on stage, unless I don't like the people, then that's a whole other thing. Mm-hmm. But if the people are cool and I just don't really like the music, I've been there, and I nobody in that audience is ever going to know that I don't love the music, because I'm going to come off like that. But the no part is there is something missing. It's like you can, like we were talking about, like paint it on. You can put your uniform on. It's like, I put it like this to my students. I'll often use this analogy is, did you happen to watch The Sopranos?
Me?
Yeah.
I am a huge Sopranos guy. Huge.
Me too, brother.
Huge.
And so I use this analogy. Imagine you're James Gandolfini, and you wake up on a Tuesday freaking morning, and you're James Gandolfini, but you got to go be Tony Soprano.
Sure.
Man,
right.
That's really heavy. It's like, damn.
Great point there, brother. So, are you going to go on stage and are you going to act, or are you going to be Dave DiCenso?
Well, that's where, to answer your question, that's the no part. Like,
right.
The no part is like, I can't give you something authentic from my heart and soul if it's not there. But I can give you everything else. I can give you a spirited performance, yeah, but it's sort of manufactured spirited, versus if I were playing music that I absolutely loved. Better still if it was music that I had a hand in writing, which has always been a passion of mine, which is part of the reason I wanted to be in a band forever, so that I could contribute, music, not just rhythm. Not that rhythm is not music, but other elements of the music besides just rhythm. And so you can't. Maybe we could say it like this: you can manufacture a sort of shiny performance and sell it. Like James Gandolfini, I never did I Never was there a moment I didn't believe what was coming out of Tony Soprano's mouth. Right? No matter what Gandolfini felt that day, you know, when he woke up or when he's sitting in his trailer and it's like, you know, he's just getting off the phone with his son or something, or whatever it is, now he's got to go be Tony Soprano. Did that answer the question?
Yes. And I look to him and I see that guy who wasn't a really big actor, but just fell into this role. I look at guys like him and certain roles like Marlon Brando as the Godfather was just perfect. Look at a guy like Carol O'Connor, Archie Bunker. It was just, you know what he did with that role and what Gandolfini did with Tony Soprano. It's just, these don't come around too much. These kind of actors and stuff.
Yeah.
Al Bundy, yeah, and what's Al Bundy from? Married with Children. Right. Yeah, that was another great. He was awesome. Yeah, but stuff like that, it's a great. That's my producer, John Besser. Yeah, great.
Hey, John.
Hey.
What's up, man?
Yeah, so it's stuff like that, that I understand. Guys, we are talking to the brilliant Dave DiCenso. I'm just going to call you brilliant from now on, bro, because I just love watching you. I had a guy call me today, a friend of mine named Josh. He goes, "You got DiCenso on your show? That mother effer scares the hell out of me." And I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's great stuff, man. And I was laughing. We had a conversation. He's like, "That guy is so fluid. He just scares me when he plays." And I know what he's saying. Everybody does, but it's just always great to have you here. I want to talk about your students and doing this for a long time. I mean, just a tremendous educator. Is there a time in the room where that student becomes the teacher?
Yes. Great question. I think we might have breached this or broached this subject in a past interview
or past life. Yeah.
Even better. Absolutely, man. If you're humble enough and I almost feel that with a little tinge of like, you really I can think of, I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go to a negative place. The answer is yes, you do need to be humble enough. You need to be confident enough in yourself to allow yourself, or someone, now at this point, my students at Berkeley are less than half my age. Right. So take some humility to, and I say it takes some humility to allow yourself to sort of be taught or influenced in some way by your student, because I remember feeling that there were times when I felt like that's not cool. Like, you should never be in a position as a teacher where your student is actually, teaching you. And so over time, that I've evolved. And yes, I would say for sure there are times when the student becomes the teacher. And I'm trying to give you an example that I could pull up, but I've experienced it many times, man. And there are times when they're not necessarily even the teacher. Yes, the answer is yes, I believe there are times, but there are also times when I see a student who's so young at this point, so much younger than me, and they play in a certain way. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen, where I'm like, wow, like I did not have that when I was your age. And I'm not even talking about mind-blowing chops. I'm talking about like sensitivity, a touch, a subtle dynamic.
Communication.
Yeah, that too.
Listening. Yeah.
And so they're not necessarily teaching me in that moment, but I'm like, shit, like I don't know, somehow that's very inspiring to me. And it doesn't scare me. I think years ago, with like, if one of my students had a better touch than I felt I did, I would have been like, oh my God, like I'm a farce, you know? So, and I think if you're humble enough to allow yourself to be in that position, it's a beautiful place to be. When you can teach and learn at the same time, it's, you know, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, yeah. It's when everything just falls into place. I love that place too. Um, I watch you, and I always wonder, you know, what he's because sometimes you're yelling, and I love it, and you're speaking. Is in your playing in your world, do the drums actually speak to you? And if they are, what would you think they be saying?
Oh, Joe, I like your style, man.
See, we on Around the Key, we don't say, "Well, Dave, what's your favorite drummer? What's your favorite drumsticks? What size cymbals do you use? What's your favorite drum head? What's your favorite size floor tom? Do you use double pedal or double bass? You know, we try to get deep here, brother. We want to get deep.
Right.
What's that 10-inch tom, double headed, tuned high? What's he saying to you during the solo?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, not even that. It's like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have. I swear you've asked me this before too.
Oh, I don't even remember what we talked about.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking it. I
don't. Yeah.
It's just I wonder how I answered it before, because
I got to go back and listen.
I'm you know, let me try to put it this way. When I don't know that 10-inch tom tuned high, you know, let's put it this way. When the drums are speaking with the tonality and aesthetic that you want, that I want, then and I'd say, if anything, if they're saying anything, and maybe I'll think about this after the fact and have more to say about it, but all I can really think of is hopefully they're saying, yeah.
That's
touch me like that again.
That's some good shit.
Yeah. Hopefully they're saying that. Yeah.
Yo, Dave, that's some good shit, man. Yeah. Do that again, bro.
That's awesome, man. So great.
Dave, I got about another 10 minutes if you'll allow me, just to indulge in you. Just great stuff. I want to talk more about your students, because at times, you know, we talked about the student at times that's, you know, maybe you find that, wow, did he just do that? Did she just do that? I'm so impressed. But we talked before about at times that student maybe becoming the teacher for a couple of minutes or half a lesson, but that's a testament to you, brother. I'm not even sure we understand that. If that student gets that good or that deep with something, it's because of, you know, the educator, you know, with them. And I think that's a testament to you. Talk about that connection at times. That how deep does the connection with the student with you have to be at times? Do you want it to go a certain way? Is there something you're looking for with each and every student?
My connection, well, what I'm looking for from each and every student is for them to trust me, trust the process. I say this a lot because most of 99.9% of my students are 20 years and older.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been playing. Some of my students are my age, so they've been playing a long time.
Yeah.
And they come to me and they want to achieve certain results. They want to accomplish certain goals, and I, I'm giving them things that I could just imagine them thinking,
mm-hmm.
wow, why is this guy taking me over here when I want this? Like, what does this over here have to do with what I want?
Right.
And so fortunately most of them get it. I'm so happy to say that. But I will say to a lot of them, like, you got to trust me, if you're feeling like you're in the trenches, which you are, but you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. You got to trust me. Talk to me in 6 months, and if you still feel like you're getting nowhere, then we have a serious conversation we need to have. Yeah. But until then, like, you got to trust me, because I know it's going to work, unless the person is a special case. And I don't mean they have some cognitive issue. I mean just they learn a different way, or it. I can't think of anyone that has been like that. The vast overwhelming majority, they come along for the ride, and if they stick around long enough, they get what they want. But they need that trust from the onset.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you find at times that you have to be more than just a teacher with some of them?
Undoubtedly. And fortunately, I've had issues, psychological issues, and I've looked at I still have, I still struggle, but I've looked at myself a lot. I in my teaching, I call it mastering the instrument that plays the instrument. You being the instrument, your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, your heart, your emotions, your thoughts, and all of that affects directly how you play the instrument, the drum set, or any instrument that you play. So because I've had to figure some stuff out about my own instrument, I am equipped to help people in that regard. And it's one of the things that maybe I enjoy most about teaching, and one of the things I'm maybe most grateful for, that I can help people in this way, because it's wonderful to help people, learn how to improvise better and flow better, and learn how to develop vocabulary and phrasing and touch and dynamics. All of that is great. It's also great to be able to help people from within, to improve themselves within. And I'm not saying I'm some freaking Dalai Lama.
Right.
But I've had to do some work. I've helped myself in some ways, and I'm able to help people. I mean, just performance anxiety alone. I had a ton of performance anxiety when I was younger, and I had to figure it out, because it was miserable. And so yes. So that's a long-winded answer to say absolutely more than just a teacher. Yeah.
Talk to me about teaching 20 years ago and teaching now, and if your teachings are different than 20 years ago the same? Do you like to keep things different? Are you a different teacher than you were 20 years ago?
Yeah, I am. 20 years ago was 2002. Okay. So, yeah, man, I was still pretty young, you know, like I was 34 20 years ago. And, you know, I'm a better musician. So that makes me a better teacher. I'd say only because I'm a good teacher, meaning like I know how to teach. I know how to translate reality to a classroom. So you know, my point is you could be the most amazing, and you know this, most people know this, but you could be an amazing musician, not necessarily be a great teacher. So my musicianship has improved. I'm a better musician, I'm a better artist than I was 20 years ago. And because I can teach that, I'm a different teacher. And I would say I'm a better teacher than I was 20 years ago. A lot of the stuff that I teach now is I was teaching 20 years ago. But you know, I think most of the change revolves around how I've changed as a musician, and then I bring that into my teaching. I haven't really changed, you know, it's like I'm still taking the same approach in terms of personally, like I want to create an environment where that person feels comfortable, trust me. That's no different than it was 20 years ago. But you know, yeah, I would say most of what's changed in my teaching is derived from what's changed in my playing. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Just guys, we've been blessed today to have this brilliant drummer, Dave DiCenso, just going back and forth, and I cannot thank him. I have one more question for him. You know, we always look at, I try to always get deep, you know, on the show, but we find that, you know, we play this instrument of drums and drumming, and it's loud at times, and it's subtle. We have dynamics, and we have these ghost notes, and we have all different kinds of variations going around the set. But I wanted to know from you, is the drums part of Dave DiCenso? Now, before you answer that, I want you to really think about that. Are the drums a part of you? You have two legs, two arms, you have two eyes, you know, you have all the extremities. Is the drums something that's part of you?
Well, that word heart, you know, if I take it literally, you know, obviously, no. It's like they're not attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look beyond the literal,
right?
I'm sorry, that was so obvious. I'm just sort of processing this question. Meanwhile stating the obvious, but I think. I think that the drums are you know, some of your questions make me think about something for the very first time, which I love that. You know, it's cool. But I'm literally thinking about this. I think for the very first time, the drums are part of me. I would say, so my point in telling you that is like maybe next week this answer would evolve to something a little different. Right now, I would say I think the drums are not necessarily a part of me, but are certainly a reflection of me.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's actually pretty good succinct answer. You know, it's like you can't hide from the drums. It's like you start playing the drums, and they're going to tell you exactly what's up.
Right. One last question: if you could play with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson tomorrow, one song in front of 20,000 people, what Rush song would it be?
Limelight.
Limelight. Wow. Why Limelight? Wow. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you'd go for something like La Villa or something like Anthem or something. Limelight. Pretty cool. That's your favorite Rush song?
I think so, man. I mean, I watched the R40 movie.
Yeah.
Was it the R40 movie? I think it was. Oh my God! It brought all my love for Rush back. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like in hindsight, I thought like I sort of, you know, like Rush was sort of a phase, and it was. Like I don't listen to Rush every day, but man, watching that movie just brought it back and reminded me of my love for that band. And my respect for that band, and you know, I don't know, man. I the first song that came to mind was Limelight. The way Neil enters that song, it's just incredible. The sound, the feel, man. So I'd go with Limelight.
You haven't been on the show since he passed, and it's the tragic past. Did you ever get to meet him? Did you know him at all?
Did not.
Yeah.
Very.
Man.
Did you?
No, I have people. So many people on the show are always good friends with him, and they tell stories how he was. You know, he was a very private man, but I think for those who knew him, he opened up to them. It was just a tragic loss. But Dave DiCenso, what could I say, man? And I want to say thank you, brother, face to face, look you in the eye and say thank you, brother, for the last 5 or 6 years. You've always been so kind to me. You've given me so much, and I owe you so much in return, bro. I say thank you.
Joe, I appreciate that very much, man. You're really fun to hang out with and do these with. And I appreciate your words. I don't feel like you owe me anything. I appreciate that you appreciate me, and it's a mutual thing, brother.
Yeah, I thank you so much. I always love talking with you. What do you got coming up? Let everybody know if you're going to be out somewhere playing.
Actually, I'm not. I'm currently in a rehab state right now. I'm working on fixing my problems with my left arm that I've had forever, and I'm sort of on a new path with it, and I'm not playing right now. I play a little bit when I teach, of course, but I'm not performing right now. And when I fix, or at least when I get to the next level with this arm, I'm gonna start recording an album which I've completely written and was intending to have been immersed in by now this year. But I started working on it and playing a lot of guitar. And guitar really aggravates the problem that I have. Drumming does too. And I figure I'm gonna take one more stab at this, Joe, and try to like really freaking, minimize, if not squash it altogether. These issues I have. So that's what I'm doing. I've got a book coming out in the fall. It's being engraved and laid out right now. And like I said, I'll be working on the album, and I hope to be getting out and playing next year. I miss it. I don't ever want to stop playing live. Yeah. Kind of my favorite thing to do. But that's what's up, Joe. Thanks for asking, man.
What's up is you, brother Dave DiCenso. Thank you, man. I'll be in touch. Thank you again for this very intimate time. You have a beautiful night, brother, and we love everything you do.
Yeah, Joe. Likewise, man. Thank you.
Right. Have a great night.
Brother.
All right.
Peace.
Great stuff.
All right,
guys, the brilliant Dave DiCenso. We've been educated again. Love going back and forth with him. Just a fun guy. He's just always in the pocket, out of the pocket. I'm not sure where he's going, but I love, where he gets to his destiny. Thank you, Dave DiCenso. If we could take this time now to get to our segment of, I think it's the Spotlight Drummer with Doug Miola.
All right, we are back once again with another amazing night of all things drummers, drums, and drumming. Hello, everyone. This is Doug Miola with our new Around the Kit Spotlight Drummer series. Tonight's Spotlight drummer is Bobby Rondinelli. Born in Brooklyn, New York on July 27, 1955, Bobby is a rock drummer famously known for his work with the bands Blue Oyster Cult, Rainbow, Quiet Riot, Black Sabbath, Doro, Riot, Pyramid, Zebra, Bonnie Tyler, The Lizards, Red Sun Red, Gidget Gine, The Handful, Leslie West, the Axel Rudy Pell Band, as well as his own band Rondinelli, to name a few. Bobby took up drumming at the age of 11, having previously played guitar. At age 13, he joined a band called The Wanderers and began playing school dances and fraternity parties. Later in his teens, Bobby and his brother Teddy started their first band called Tusk. Through his teens, Bobby played the Long Island and New York club scene, doing hundreds of shows. Some of Bobby's early influences include Carmen Appice, Ginger Baker, Buddy Rich, and Dino Danelli. In 1980, Bobby was playing in a band called Samantha when Richie Blackmore asked him to join Rainbow. A fun fact, Bobby auditioned to replace Peter Criss of Kiss in 1980. However, Eric Carr ultimately landed that gig. Bobby was with Rainbow for their albums Difficult to Cure in 1981 and Straight Between the Eyes in 1982, along with some of their later released live albums. Bobby also recorded drum tracks for the Scorpions' big-selling 1984 breakthrough album called Love at First Sting. However, no one from the Scorpions has ever confirmed that any of his tracks made it to the final cut of the album. The Scorpions guitarist Rudolf Schenker wanted him to join the Scorpions full-time, but since they were the first successful German rock band in America, their management wanted to keep the band completely comprised of German members. With his incredible talents and international recognition, Bobby became an in-demand session and freelance drummer. He played with Black Sabbath on the albums Cross Purposes and Cross Purposes Live, and was a member of the band in 1994 and 1995. He also played in the bands Rondinelli and Sun Red Sun with singer Ray Gillen, and was also the drummer for Gidget Gine and the Dollygaggers. Between 2003 and 2008, he played in the New York-based band The Lizards, founded by ex-Cactus bassist Randy Pratt and guitarist Patrick Klein. From 2008 to 2010, Bobby played with a Rainbow tribute band called Over the Rainbow, which consisted of band members Joe Lynn Turner, Jurgen Blackmore, Paul Morris, and Greg Smith. Bobby is also a well-known drum educator and clinician, as well as the author of the Encyclopedia of Double Bass Drumming, co-written with Michael Lauren. The book features hundreds of innovative warm-ups, beats, and fill exercises, tips for getting started, a discography of important double bass recordings, and a timeline of the most important double bass drummers in our history. Bobby continues to play and work with various artists, bands, and projects while maintaining his private drum instruction schedule and drum clinic appearances. Bobby had lots of exposure on MTV with the bands that he worked with in the 1980s and has inspired tons of drummers worldwide with his amazing drumming skills and talents. I have been fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to attend several of Bobby's drum clinics, and he is definitely one of my personal favorite drummers. Thank you, Bobby, for your inspiration and amazing contributions to the world of hard rock drumming. We wish you continued success.
were born to disappear. How do I stop myself from being just a number? How will I hold my head to keep from going under? Hiding right outside my door. I hear them whispering, they're trying to ride it out. They've never gone this long without a kill destroy. Down to the wire, I wanna ride a walk through the fire. If this is what it takes to take me even higher, then I'll come through like I do when the world keeps testing me, testing me, testing me.
Guys, we are back on Around the Kit. Just tremendous video. So happy he's back on the show. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back the great Donald Barrett. What is up, my brother?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It is going.
Joe, it's been a long time.
It's been a while, man. It's I got a guy at work. He says, it's been a hot minute. How you doing, bro?
Your head is still bald like mine. You know what I mean?
First of all,
I love it.
Thank you so much for your time once again, man. It's been a while. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm blessed, man. I'm very blessed. It's about 85 degrees here in sunny Cali. So we've been getting some warm weather lately, so
It's
I can't complain.
96. It's 96 in New York today. 96. Yeah, so we've been getting killed, but
Man.
yeah, man, you've been blessed. I'm just watching your culmination. It's a great word for you. Everything that coming your way, and you deserve it, bro. Representative for Yamaha. All the years of tour with Tony Braxton years ago, and all the artists you've toured with, and bam, Lady Gaga. It's a testament. Of course, you're going to be humble and give credit where people. But let's talk about you, man. You deserve this. You worked for this. Getting to this. I watched you with Lady Gaga, just kicking ass. Talk to me about the whole. Waukegan, Illinois, if I remember, it pronounced Illinois. Growing up, we talked about the whole culmination of where you are today.
Man, I mean, do you really want to dig into that? I'm from Chicago, Illinois, but I'm actually from Waukegan.
Yeah.
It's like when you're out here, you say Chicago because nobody knows. Waukegan is a suburb north of Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's the city I grew up in, and actually another famous drummer, Marvin Smith, was from that city and went to the same high school. I had his same band director up until he passed, and Waukegan, that's my hometown. My mom and dad are still there, and it's great. And then when I turned about 16, I moved to the south suburbs. We call it the Wild Hundreds, but the south suburbs in Dawson, Illinois, and I finished out my high school there at Thorn Ridge High School. So I did 2 years at Waukegan High School, and then I graduated from Thorn Ridge High School. And so I actually got a pretty nice spectrum of all of Chicagoland area between Waukegan and Dawson. I mean, the culture difference is like, even musically and just, people wise, it's a broad spectrum. So it's cool. I mean, that's my humble beginnings, is learning how to play drums there in Waukegan.
And then playing with all these great artists, and then getting to the as we say, the big time at the time, this year and a couple of years ago, the cream of the crop, probably one of the biggest in the world, Lady Gaga. How we got there is a story, but what we do while we're there is even a bigger story. How do you maintain that excellence when you get somewhere?
Stay humble. Just like you get it, you can lose it. I think just understanding your purpose, also understanding your value. Like you said, I put in a lot of hours, countless of hours that people have never seen. Working on getting around the kit, working on timing, working on groove, working on swing, working on getting beat up by all my professors and jazz study professors and all the amazing music directors I've worked for through the years, and then the wide spectrum of music that I've been playing throughout my career. It's just all that, in a culmination of just meeting people, networking. You meet someone, and that's how I got the Gaga gig. Because one of my best friends, Ryan Cross, and he's really great friends with Michael Bearden, who's her musical director, and one day he just like, hey, we need a drummer for Gaga, and she's doing this big jazz project in Vegas, and it's just starting there, and it's crazy, and I need somebody who can swing and play pop and do all these different, styles. And then Ryan Cross was like, I got your guy, and I happened to be standing right next to him, and he said, matter of fact, here's his demo right now, and that's how it started. So the preparation, yes, but then also the networking and just meeting the right people and being at the right place at the right time. God just, opens that door, and now you just have to walk through,
Yes, but how we walk through is also a big part of it. If staying humble, how that door opens is one thing, but how you walk through the hallways is also another testament to your greatness. You have a great supporting cast, your beautiful wife and the children, and we've talked about that over the years. Is staying humble really, really vital to you? Is it important to always not forget where you came from?
Yeah, every time I step on the stage, it doesn't matter if I'm playing with Gaga, if I'm playing with down the street at the Baked Potato,
Yeah.
if I'm playing at church, which I was this morning for about 3 hours. I just always pinch myself and just like it's a privilege to be able to share your gift with other people and other band members. So being humble is not just necessarily saying, "Oh, thank you." It's actually just playing from a place of gratefulness. And I think when you can play, confidence. Sometimes people get confidence and humble mixed up. You still have to have amazing confidence, but the humble part is just always being grateful and always remembering where you came from and what got you there. And you were asking earlier, like how do you stay there, or how do you maintain that?
Yeah.
And the reality is that you just have to keep doing the things that got you there. That's really the reality. You can't stop doing those things. A lot of times we get gigs or, tours, and a lot of musicians, you hear stories, they get out there and they get comfortable on the gig and they forget that, to whom much is given, much is required. And so for me, it's just always just remembering that place and just playing with it as much fire as I can day in, day out, so that I'm representing the music the best way I can and making the artist feel good, because that's what got me there. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And maintain that excellence. You say, some musicians and drummers, they get to a point where they say, "Well, I'm on this hill. I'm king of the mountain. Nobody can knock me off." Bullshit.
It's true. It's true.
You have to always
Man.
maintain that. I remember my first interview with the great Kenny Arnoff over 6 years ago, and he says, if that guy's going in for that gig, he better get it. You know why? If he doesn't get it, I'm gonna take it. And he wasn't being
Did you say that was Kenny Arnold?
Yeah. He was just saying, if you don't get it, I'm gonna get it. He's just saying, work for it. So once you're there, you can't get too complacent. You have to, still maintain everything you're doing.
Yeah, I love Kenny. Kenny's awesome. We got a chance to hang out in Vegas when he was there. I forget the artist he was there with.
John
Fogerty.
Yeah.
Yes, Fogerty. Exactly. I got a chance to go to the show and drum tickets, and we just had a blast and we hung out all night. And he's a Midwest dude. He's real. He's like, hey, listen, he loves to play drums. He loves to make music and and the whole deal. And so he's a real guy. But yeah, I mean, have you watched these videos with all these kids? Man, these kids are hungry. They're playing a lot of drums. I mean, insanely amount, and so you have to stay sharp. And but I think at the end of the day, man, you just have to just keep stay in your lane and just keep doing what you love to do, man. And that's how I just try to do it. I can't worry about everything else. I try to do that and keep it pushing.
The great Donald Barrett is our guest. I'm always flattered when he comes on. It's been a hot minute, as my friend.
It's been a minute, man.
It's been a minute. Oh man, love it. But talk about being humble and everything. I watch you, representing Yamaha and that connection. And I don't want to bring up the whole endorsement thing, but there has to be a certain marriage there. With the company you represent, they represent you, and vice versa. Talk to me about everything you're doing as a spokesperson for Yamaha and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to be endorsed by several companies. Yamaha, I would say Yamaha was probably the first company that I was endorsed by when I moved out to LA. Mm-hmm. Maybe a couple years after I moved out, one of my mentors and one of my big brothers, Oscar Seaton, was a Yamaha endorsee. He plays drums for Lionel Richie and Terrence Blanchard and everybody else under the sun. And I was staying with him for 3 years because I had just moved from Chicago. And I was just always around Yamaha. And even before then, I played Yamaha drums all the time, like back in high school. So it was just like hanging around him and hanging around, at the time, Joe Testa, who's now at Vic Firth, and hang around everybody. It was just like they just saw my career starting to expand. And so one day they just came to me and they said, listen, we would love to partner with you and to move along with you as your career moves along. And basically started that development. They got me a kid. And as I started to get older and wiser about endorsements, I started to really understand, the power of it, because there is great responsibility to be endorsed with these major companies. I mean, I used to have Yamaha. I used to, not to make this a long story, but I used to have Yamaha posters on my wall right above my bed, and right next to my bed was my drum set. I mean, I would get up, I would go to sleep looking at those posters, Dave Weckel, Ndugu Chancellor, you know, all the guys at that time, Omar Hakeem, on these, you remember like modern drum, they would have spreads. It wasn't like a little box, it was a spread, you know.
I remember this. I'm sorry. This big Yamaha post. I remember it was this huge kit, and they're like the toms were overlaying. You remember that one picture? It was
I remember that.
Oh man.
Oh man, it was so many drums up there.
Yeah, and I know a good friend of mine, Mike Vanderhoof from Wine T. You know him.
Oh yeah, I know Mike.
He's another Yamaha guy. He's always talking about you, how he respects your playing and everything. Yeah, but talking about the connection and the endorsements, but I want to go back to opening that door, and we opened the door. Now we're in the room. What that does now, and it's a great room to be, but you got to be aware of your surroundings. Talk to me about that door opening and playing now, and being a good person, because you want to play good, you want to be on time, and you want to be a good person to hang with. Now that door can open up more doors.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you just said it. Said it. Be a good person. I mean, be a likable person that people want to be around. I think for me, I just always I always do my best to just do my job as well as I can first, and understand that the people around me are here to have the same experience that I am. And it doesn't matter if it's another musician, if it's a tech, if it's for Gaga we have a 40-piece orchestra, so if it's like string, but like we're all interacting, and I have the utmost respect for everybody on that stage. If lighting, like a lot of times before my shows, I'll go up into the theater all the way to the top, and I'll just hang out with like the front house audio guys. I'll hang out with the lighting. I'll just kind of get a vibe of everybody and just try to absorb it. And what it happens is it just makes you more connected to the situation. Yeah. And so, it's definitely about being in the room. But once you get in a room, it's like you have to have confidence in what your skill is, and then just absorb everything. I'm one of those people. I'm not really. I'm not a introvert. Like I'm an extrovert. I like to be out. I like to see how things are working and like what's going on. And that's beyond the drums. That's beyond the drums. I mean, my monitor guys can tell you, I sit back there, I ask them about gear, I ask them about, how do they get the drums to sound like this, what preamps are they using, all that comes into play, to help the experience better. And then people really get the sense of feel that like you're there for a bigger purpose than just to collect a check, So, but you said it all though, that's it. Be a great person and just treat people with respect and love what you do. And as you want people to do to you, you do to them. I mean, my church, we just came out of a 3-day conference, and we had this international gospel recording superstar. His name is Todd Delaney, and he's in the gospel industry. He is at the top of the hill, and he brought his band down. And I've got a Yamaha Maple hybrid kit, and I've got Pisces cymbals laid out, and I have a really beautiful kit there. It's like my home. But when he came, I did everything to make sure that he was at home. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I was his tech for the day. And it didn't bother me. It was like, yo, what you need? You know what I mean? You need this tune, you need this higher, you need this lower. And I learned that from the OGs. So, and he was really amazed. And he was just like, yo, it's like, no, this is what it's all about. We're a community. And that's what I love about drummers is like, if you ever, like this conversation here, if you get 2, 3, 4, 5 more people, it's going to be a huge hang. And don't let us hang out physically. We just going to talk shop all day, And so, I just try to, I just try to live my life like that in terms of, from a musical standpoint, and just treat everybody with respect and just have fun, And that makes everybody, enjoy the experience even much more.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk about your playing and we mentioned before that the whole gospel thing, and I'm going to keep it real here as I always am. I got to keep it 100% on the show.
You always do.
I like. Listen, these guys, they're tremendous players. Their chops at times are just mind blowing. But if I'm being honest, and I don't know if you're going to get this, I find some of that very stale at times because not listen. I can't do it. A lot of stuff they're playing, I can't play. But I find that they fall into this rut. I'm looking for something different. What are you looking for in this day and age of drumming? Do you like what you see? Any reservations?
Well, I can relate to a lot of them because I used to be them when I was 15 and 16 growing up. I mean, that's all we did.
They're all competing.
It's that, but you're also challenging yourself. I think sometimes there's a misinterpretation or of the concept of the way gospel drummers play. In church, there's what we call the move of the Holy Spirit. So a lot of times it's a very emotional experience. So now just understand what I'm about to say, because what I'm saying is not necessarily a defense for them, but what I'm saying is that there was a certain hunger, passion to physically stretch yourself to the limit as you can on your kit. Now, here is where it gets tricky, Joe. This is where it gets tricky, is that after a while of stretching yourself to the limit in that kind of gospel drum chop, if that's what they want to call it, gospel chop kind of situation, if you don't have any further education about the drum kit itself, that's where the playing becomes stale. Because what's happening is that you're not educating yourself on the other myriad of styles that you could actually easily use that as an approach and create something fresh. And that's where a lot of the younger kids, just like I used to be, need that mentor, or they need somebody to come and say, I see what you're trying to do, you're killing. And quick story. When I was 16 and I was living in Chicago, I was living in Dawson. I was taking drum lessons. I don't know how much time we got, so I'll try to keep it short. But I was taking drum lessons, and this guy, Victor Baker, who was like one of the big drummers, and he had just one guitarist and a drum off. I was taking lessons with him, and in the middle of the lesson, he stopped. And he said, listen, you have an amazing feel. He says, I see your potential and I see where you're going. I can't get you there, which I was amazed because this dude is a beast on drums. And at that time, he was heralded as like one of the top guys in Chicago. And I couldn't believe this. And I was like, well, what? So you just going to throw me to the curb? He says, no. He's like, you need somebody who does this 24/7, like internationally with international artists. You need a seasoned pro that can show you everything about drumming, not just how to play a chop or how to play a lick or how to have good timing. So he turned me on to this guy. His name is Oscar Seaton. Everybody who's ever heard my interviews or read my stories, they know about Oscar. And Oscar at the time was working with Ramsey Lewis. I think he was working with Boss Skaggs at the time. And I called him. It took 6 months to get in touch with him, but I finally got him on the phone. He says, yeah, I heard about you, man. He said, man, come over to the house. Lo and behold, he lived like down the street from me, and I didn't even know that. So I'm like, oh, this is a short drive. And so I get up to the apartment, and you just hear these drums going. It was like a hypnotic groove that like wouldn't stop. He had a cowbell. He had a little splash. He had a couple crashes and a ride, and one rack time and one floor time. And you just heard this hypnotic groove, and I'm just like trying to bang on the door. And I guess he forgot I was calling over because he was in. And I finally, I was like, I stepped back, and then I think he took a quick break, and then he looked out the window, and he was like, oh, come on up. So it's like, man, I'm sorry, man, I've been practicing all day. And he was on the second floor, his sister was on the front. I love Oscar. So he comes in, he's like, hey, man, so, because when we talked on the phone, he was like, I want to see your playing. And at that time, before YouTube, before all of this TikTok and all this stuff, I would take a camcorder, and at my dad's church, because I'm a PK, I would take my dad's camcorder, set it over the kit, and put mics up, and somehow link it up with music, and I would just play to it. And so he was like, I want to see one of those videos. So I brought a video over. I'm almost done, Joe. I brought a video over, and he looked at the video. He watched he probably watched about 45 seconds of the video and he stopped it. And like this lull came over me. I was like, oh man, he's about to get into I can tell.
Yeah,
and he wasn't mad. He just stopped it. And he had a very introspective kind of just a moment, like a Zen moment. And then finally he was like, Donald, he says, man, I heard a lot about you. You know, you're one of the young kids in the city coming up. He says, man, you can get around those drums like crazy. He was like, man, I tell you, you can get around the drums more than I can. I mean, in terms of just the pure sensibility of just being fast and all that. He said, but let me tell you something. He was like, he says, if it came to groove, you would be poor. Meaning you can't get a gig. Not the kind of gigs I'm doing. That's what he was trying to say. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you'd be poor. He said, so I'm telling you what you're going to do. You're going to go home. You're going to strip your whole kit. I just want you to have a hi-hat, snare drum, and kick drum for the next 3 months. Don't put nothing else on the kit. Even if you got gigs, set up what you need for that. But at home, I want those 3 elements. That's it. And I'm going to give you some BPMs to practice to and some groove vibes to practice to. For 3 months, that's all I want. And from there, my whole groove sensibility just took off. And so I'm saying that story to say that's what these kids are missing. Is missing that person that will say, I see what you're trying to do. You're killing it. It's awesome. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a professional musician? If so, then let me show you kind of how you can work that to your benefit. So anyways.
Was that a game changer early on you? Like a game changing moment?
That was not game changing. That was a life changing.
Life changing.
That moment. No. I say that with all seriousness. That was a life changing moment because up to that point, I still didn't know I was going to play professionally. I just loved to play drums. I was playing a lot of basketball at the time. I thought I was going to go to the NBA. Like I had all these other things that I wanted to do. I just loved to play drums. I've been playing since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I just loved to play. I didn't know that you could make great money playing drums. I didn't know you could support a family playing. Like I didn't know these things until I met Oscar. So that encounter was life changing. And to this day, I'm every time we talk, like I'm just always eternally grateful. And so that to circle back to what you were asking, is like that's what it is. It's like exposure outside of the 4 walls of the people that you hang around. It's like anything else. If you want to be a better basketball player, you can't play on the same court with the same guys that are doing the same dunks and same 360s. You got to go over and play, you know, on some other courts and meet some other guys and find some other styles, you know, and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Talking about these kids, these young kids with these great chops, how do you think YouTube plays into it? The whole social media, you know, think about it. If these kids didn't see each other, they wouldn't be copying the licks. You know, they'd be hearing them. But now we can go on YouTube and see a guy's foot for half hour, what he's doing on a hi-hat. Years ago, when we grew up, I was rewinding the cassettes and playing albums. Now I can go see Donald Barrett, how he's playing. Do you think YouTube is something that's a good thing at times and also a crutch at times?
I mean, I think everything can be good and a crutch. I think it's just how you use it. Everything is about moderation, right? Mm-hmm. So back in the day, we had DCI videos. So, but I mean, the only difference now is you can see anybody you want. Back then, it was whoever came out with a video, right? Or you went and saw them play live. So the only difference is you have more exposure to other drummers, to other musicians, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
The key is not to get lost in that. That at some point, and I remember Oscar sharing this with me, and not just Oscar, like a lot of drum instructors, YL Douglas, and you know, just a lot of great instructors would share with me, like, you have to find out who you are. Like, I hear me, I hear Will, I hear all these other guys, but who are you? And that is a place that you almost have to turn everybody off and get into your thing. What do I want to say on the kit? What is my calling? What is my purpose on this instrument? Is it just to sound like everybody else, or just sound like my heroes? I remember reading an article that Vinny had put out years ago, and what he said was so actually genius that a lot of times we don't think about it. But he was like, what helped him was he got as much of his heroes as he could and learned everything he could. Then he killed them all. Basically, he shut it off, and then he went into his hybrid state. And I'll never forget reading that. And I'm like, it makes so much sense. you get all the wisdom, you can read as many books as you want, but if you don't apply it to yourself, then what good is that? And so for me, that's what I did. So now at this point in juncture, for me, and I'm just speaking for me, Joe, I don't really watch a lot of other drummers, and that's not an egotistical statement.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time listening to records that I'm on. I spend a lot of time watching videos that I'm on, TV shows that I'm on, listening to sessions that I do, movies that I do. Like, I spend a lot of time because now I'm tweaking my sound. I'm like tweaking. I'm not saying I never catch a really great drummer. Will Kenny was just in town with Yellow Jackets like a couple months ago. I went and saw my boy Will. I'll go see guys. I'll see Abe down with his dad at Baked Potato. But I'm not going to sit and just hoard a bunch of information necessarily. And that doesn't mean I don't want to be fresh. It means I know what my purpose is and my calling. So I'm really working on tweaking that as much as I can because the calls are coming. So I want to make sure I'm giving them my interpretation of how to do what I do versus everybody else's. Those influences are already in there. So now it's like giving them down a barrier.
You reached this plateau, but I think in your case that plateau is just up here. It makes you work even harder for Donald Barrett.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, there is no. I mean, my wife can tell you, like, I spend sleepless nights just like up watching production videos now, not just drum videos, production videos, because I want to be able to speak language. Like I'm in situations now, Joe, where it's not just drums. I'm in situations where lighting and sound and all these productions are going on, and producers and creative directors. Like, you have to be able to speak that language. So again, expanding my territory is not just my playing, but it's everything that is around me. So that way it's like, oh, this guy is really serious about what he does because he takes in everything, not just his, four corners of his world. And so it is, but I mean, I still love playing drums. I'm really excited because this fall is the first day, my wife will get a kick out of this, is the first day that in probably about 4 or 5 years that I have 3 kids, that all 3 of them will be in school. I've got 2 young ones, 3 and 5, and they're getting ready to go. 1 in preschool, 1 in kindergarten. I got a 12-year-old. So they're all about to be out of the house. I have a studio I have not seen, my drum studio, my practice studio, I have not seen all year. And I am so excited to get there this fall and just wear it out because I will have now the time and the space to do it.
You mentioned the kids and the beautiful wife. You see the pictures on social media, and it's just a beautiful family. Talk to me about you with all the success you've had, but you've stayed humble. Has it made you a different husband or a different father at all?
Yes, I definitely would say it has. I mean, I think everything's connected, I give you a quick just example. I recently, when we did our last stint with Gaga, we were in Vegas, for about 5 weeks because we had to do the Grammys, and then after that, her residency started. So we were just there, and I felt really bad because it was like one of the first times. Because last time when we did our residency, like I tried to fly home because LA, Vegas, that's a puddle jump. I'll try to come home for a couple of days on my days off and fly back. Mm-hmm. But this time, I just really felt like I needed to be there because there were people I needed to meet. There were connections I needed. So, I explained that to my wife, and she was like, I understand. You need to be there. You need to be there. And it pained me so much to be away for so long, not just from my wife, but obviously my kids. But I made so many great connections there. And then obviously being able to focus on some of the things that I really need to focus on playing wise, and then other work that I have, it just gave me that space to do that. And then when I came home, I just really, there was something about that was just different. I just really appreciated how much work she does in holding me down. She's not a musician. She's in the corporate world. What I mean? She's dealing with numbers and, CEOs and dealing with, she's in a whole nother spectrum of line of work. And I remember the first day that when I got back home, when she went to work and I had all the kids, and I was just like, man, I was so grateful. And I think from that moment, it just helped me kind of understand like my place in our family, like, to just spend as much time with the kids as possible and be as present even though it's hard sometimes, but just be as present as I can. Because for me leaving like that, man, that's a huge weight, as it would be on any family,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Great stuff, brother. I got one more for you, brother, and I cannot thank you for this time. I love connecting with you. I remember years ago, you were on the same show as my Dean Castronova video. That was also, that was a great night, man. But the great Donald Barrett. You're so grounded today, and you've always been that way. At least to me, I always think so. What excites you about your future, not only in drumming, in life? What excites you about tomorrow?
The possibilities. I mean, that's what excites me. The possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, just starting, since this is a drum show, just starting with drums.
Yeah.
This fall, I plan on getting back to some of my basics and fundamentals of drumming. That excites me, of just learning how to really get around the kit and be able to, one of the things that I used to, share with some of my mentors is like, and one I felt like was one of my biggest struggles is to be as free and effortless as possible around the kit. Doesn't mean being perfect, and I'm not talking about speed. I'm just talking about being able to be free to play whatever comes from here to here to here, and just really working on that. And that really excites me this year because I love drums. I love playing drums. I love studying. I have got a ton of books that are waiting for me this fall to dig into, and everything from just the metric modulation stuff to just basic stick control. I'm just excited to dive back into that. And then there's just things that I'm doing in life. I've got 2 TV shows I'm pitching right now. We're in the midst of shopping those shows right now that are music shows that are drama based. You live in LA, and so it's been 10 years of hard work of trying to get these shows sold, but like that's exciting to me. Being a musical director right now at my church, that's exciting to me right now. Because I deal with not just musicians, I've got a 9-piece ensemble and a whole production team that I have to coordinate with, as well as an amazing 4-piece band. Working with Gaga, that excites me. She's one of the best in the game, and to be privileged to work with her and Michael Beard and all the Brian Newman and all the guys, Alex and Daniel and all the guys, like that excites me. Our next time getting together to be able to create and just make beautiful music, it all excites me. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for the things I haven't seen yet.
Nice.
And I just kind of, take it one day at a time. But, I just, there's so much more to come. And I feel privileged to be able to do what I love for a living. It's a true blessing. It really is.
Yeah, brother, you are so grounded. You're so in the zone. You're a lifer. You're a lifer, not only in drums, but the passion to live. It's in you, brother. And I always want to say thank you for this time. Anybody who wants to check you out, any tours coming up, how can they get to do that?
Well, I mean, I got a couple of projects out. So if they want to watch me on television, if they got Netflix, they can go to the Dolly Parton Netflix special, Music Cares that we did to tribute to her. All the country legends. So like I'm playing country for like an hour and a half with like Mabel Staples and like all the gospel. I mean all the country legends. If they want to hear me audibly, I think it was released last year, Loud Workman record, which I'm really stoked to have been on. With amazing drummers like Vinny and Abraham LeBoy Jr. and all these amazing drummers, and Loud Workman. I think it's Uncommon Measures is the name of that record. It's out now. And so if you just Google me, Donald Barrett drums, everything will come up. You can find me on social media. I'm easy to you can reach out anytime, and Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. So yeah, I'm around.
Bro, I love your smile. It's so big and bright, man. Your smile is tremendous, and the future is bright. I feel like I know your wife and kids. They're so beautiful, man. They're always out there. You're always exposing them, and I think it's great. We say thank you, brother. We'll do this again, hopefully, and maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, I always love having you on. It's been a hot minute, but I love talking to you. The great Donald Barrett. Thank you, brother, and we'll check you out on the road. Everything you're doing. We say thank you from around the kid.
Thank you, man. You gotta give me one of those shirts too, man.
What size? What size you wear?
Man,
Large?
it depends. Small, medium. It just depends on the day. What I'm eating. Medium is probably the safest bet.
I'm gonna text you. You give me your address. I'll send you a coffee mug and a shirt. All right, man. Good. Guys, the great Donald Barrett. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a great night.
Thank you, guys. Be blessed,
great
man.
Thank stuff.
All right.
Man.
All right.
We were blessed tonight to have this great drummer on the show, the great Donald Barrett. Thank you, Donald Barrett. It's time to get to our last segment of the night, and then we're going to roll the end clips. It's This Week in Drum History with Laura Papiatieri. On this day in drumming history, we celebrate the birth of Alan Whitehead, the British spiritually enlightened marmalade drummer, businessman, and author. He was born in Oswestry, England on July 24th, 1945. He was artistically gifted from an early age. After seeing Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps on TV, he decided he wanted to be part of a band. His other early influences were Cliff Richard and the Shadows and the Everly Brothers, whose fantastic harmony drove him to become a member of their fan club. Alan purchased his first drum kit when he was 16, and within 3 years, by 19, his career in the music industry began. His first gig was playing with Crispian St. Peter's, who had a #1 hit with The Pied Piper. He played with various groups, including the cult group The Attack, featuring guitarist and trumpeter David O. List, also of The Nice with Keith Emerson. In the winter of 1967, Alan saw an advertisement for a drummer wanted in a popular music paper. It read, "Hard-working Motown group looking for a drummer." That group was Marmalade, who were the #1 group in Scotland. They had decided to move to London for more exposure, but their drummer, Ray Duffy, didn't want to travel. Alan auditioned and got the job, becoming the only Englishman in the all-super tight Glaswegian clan. After a few months of playing together, they landed a 6-month residency at the world-famous Marquee Club in London. They became the highest-paid non-hit group to work there. Their first big hit soon followed with Loving Things, then Wait for Me, Marianne. And by Christmas of 1968, they scored their first #1 with the Paul McCartney penned tune, Obla Di, Obla Da. McCartney had hoped for the song to become a Beatles single, but the other Beatles vetoed it. Lucky for Marmalade, they got there first. Marmalade followed this hit with Baby Make It Soon. Then they switched record labels to Decca and recorded Reflections of My Life, which went to #1 in 18 countries. Alan considers that song the band's greatest work. This song was written by vocalist Dean Ford and the band's main songwriter, keyboardist Junior Campbell. Campbell went on to pen the theme from the British TV series Thomas the Tank Engine, which was narrated in its first 2 seasons by drummer Ringo Starr. In 1973, Marmalade toured the world extensively, racking up a total of 11 top 10 hits and 2 #1s. Alan also began his journey to enlightenment in 1973 after joining a small group called A Circle for Inner Truth. He grew under the teachings of the ancient Chinese master named Chung Fu. Whitehead left Marmalade in 1978 after a 10-year run and set up his own management company. He negotiated his first production contract with EMI Records. He studied photography and used his skills to photograph and package the artists he worked with. He successfully managed Lips Incorporated, Mel and Kim, Modern Romance, Ricky Peebles and all-girl groups Amazuli and Bella Stars. He discovered the Dream Boys and English Chippendales and created the UK Glamour Girl Review, a female version of the Chippendales, and for 10 years toured the world, including 4 tours of Australia. He currently runs Chubby Llama Management, representing the indie rock band Shoot the Preacher. Happy 77th birthday, Alan Whitehead.